So the midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata looks just like what you would see in real life, dissecting the brain. And cutting through that corpus callosum is tough. You need a very sharp knife to cut through that because of the bundles. But as you can see, cerebrum, cerebellum, brainstem. Now look how they're breaking it down for us. My diencephalon. I'm going to have my thalamus, my hypothalamus reaching my pituitary gland. Now, midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, then we begin the spinal cord. Okay? Pretty cool, isn't it? So when we look at the structure, once again, we're going to see that we've got gray and white matter. What does that tell us? If it's gray, what is it telling us? It do what?
So one has myelin and one is unmyelinated.
Unmyelinated is which one?
Gray.
The gray.
And the white is myelinated.
Because myelin is a fatty substance, and fatty substances usually have this whitish look to them. So, even though we're saying unmyelinated versus myelinated, the unmyelinated is still myelinated. It's just not the same. Okay, it's just a little bit different. Now, the gray matter. Let's look at our terms. My neurosomas, dendrites, synapses. Cell bodies, dendrites of the cell body, and the synapse. So if I go back over here, that part. Is everybody kind of following me? Now, this is what's making up a layer, an area over the cerebrum and the cerebellum. If you were to be able to take this, and if we think of like a layer, think of it as like being a layer over it. Okay, maybe I should hold it upright. Like a layer over top of it. This is our cortex. Okay, does that make sense? We're going to find, now, I wish somebody would have been more inventive in lab that day, okay? Because when we hear the term nuclei, we're thinking about a cell and the nucleus in it, right? Well, now we got to kind of give another idea to the term nuclei. This is now going to tell us an area of dense nerve cell bodies. So more than one. So that's why they're calling it nuclei, because the nucleus would be in the nerve cell body. So we're going to see that located in, like, think about little groupings, okay, throughout this layer over the brain. The white matter is deeper into the areas of the brain. So if we're looking at the brain, think of the white matter as being the deeper part of the makeup. Okay? We're going to see that it helps to connect one part of the brain to another. That doesn't just mean left to right. It's also telling me I've got to connect from one lobe to the next. I have to make sure that there are connections not just from side to side, but within area to area to area of the brain. Does that make sense? Okay. Then we have to have the connection to the spinal cord. Wait a minute. Isn't the spinal cord, isn't the white tissue to the outside and the gray to the inside? It's now reversed. So when we look at the brain, even though the brain and the spinal cord making up the central nervous system, in the brain, grays to the outside, whites to the inside, spinal cord, white to the outside, gray to the inside.
Wait, gray to the inside. For the brain, you said, and white to the outside?
For the brain, gray matter to the outside, white to the inside. For the spinal cord, white to the outside, gray to the inside. Kind of cool. Even though it's all central nervous system. Once again, and I didn't want to go back into this because we've talked about them already. We have the 3 connective tissue wrappings, those meninges. Got the outer, the middle, the inner, okay? Remember the dura mater, the arachnoid mater, the pia mater, okay? So we still got that present. But now in the brain, these connective tissue wrappings, they're going to form little indentations and dips that are going to be present in the brain. So, we're going to have something called dural sinuses. Well, if I've got dura mater, arachnoid mater, pia mater, now dural, well, which one do you think that involves? My dura mater. And if it's a sinus, what does that tell me?
Next to the nerves.
It's
Nasal.
A cavity, a space, okay? Think about something being this huge space, okay? Oh, who's there? I didn't know type. You read. Spaces. Yay! Now, look what they do. Collect blood. Aha! That has circulated around the brain and empty it into internal jugular veins. What? Okay, we're going to find that out. Blood supply to the brain, very important, okay? We're going to find out why, so hold on to that thought. Falx cerebri. Cerebrum. Cerebri meaning because we got two sides, okay? Falx, a fold. The dura mater folds inward to separate areas of the brain, frontal to parietal to temporal to occipital. Now, cerebelli, cerebellum, we get foldings to separate areas of the cerebellum. Kind of cool.
So what is belly?
Cerebelli. If we think of
Belli.
cerebellum as a whole,
Uh-huh.
we're looking at the two halves. So cerebelli.
Oh, cerebellum.
Okay, sort of like cerebri. Two sides.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Ha. Now, something called ventricles and cerebrospinal fluid. I love this part because it is so cool to me. Now, lost my pituitary gland. Oh well, if y'all see it, let me know.
That little nut thing?
Yes. No, I didn't. I must have lost something else. Okay. So,
Check your video.
check my video.
Did you start it? I didn't hear you read. I don't know if you started it.
Oh, we got 4 minutes. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now,
Put ours back together.
now, just because I want to get you to open it back up in a second. All right, so now, cerebrospinal fluid. What does that do?
Cushion. Shock
We
absorption.
get some cushioning from it, some shock absorption. Helps provide necessary materials. It's going to wash over the tissues. Okay, it's like a cleansing that takes place. Is it something that is a fixed amount or is a constant amount being produced? It's a constant amount that's being produced. So that tells me that somehow in the making of the brain, I've got to get this produced. So we're going to have areas called ventricles. And let's kind of, because right now it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, what does that mean? All right. Now, I got 2 great big huge parts of my brain. All right. Left and right. I have these ventricles, 2 that are lateral. So that tells me 2, meaning 1 to each side. Is everybody with me? So that would be my first and my second ventricle. Don't ask me which one's first and which one's second. Like, is the left first or the right first? Is the left second? I don't know because I didn't study neurology. Okay? I'm amazed by it. All right? But I know they exist. Okay? First and second. The ventricles. That means if I've got them laterally and they're up here in this big part, there's more to be concerned with than just this area. So, I'm going to find that my laterals, the first and the second, we have a third one. And the first and the second are connected to the third through a little we're going to see the picture, a little narrow space, and that one is going to be connected and go to the fourth. Now, as all of this connection takes place and carries through the fluid, it begins to lead to the central canal. Because the cerebrospinal fluid has to travel down the cerebral canal of the spinal cord to wash over the tissues of the spinal cord. Okay, is everybody with me at this point? So,